think a lot of us think that we are headed towards socialism, communism, combination of the two, but really it seems like it's a technocracy, which makes complete and total sense. Originated at Columbia University in 1932, was founded by Marion King Hubbard and Howard Scott in 1933. How it works: so by nature produces volumes of inviolable regulations that are science-based. It creates a totalitarian control in the end, but is not socialism or communism. It seeks to replace price-based economic systems with energy-based systems, energy credits. So you no longer have your dollar currency, it's an energy-based system. It was to be issued kind of like food stamps to all people of society. How you would receive was based on the energy forecast that these scientists and engineers produced, the report, and they determined how much energy would be produced and available for the next quarter, the next month, and you would essentially from there get a token or a script in the mail. They would divide that by the amount of energy, by the total amount of people in the population, and then you would get your check in the mail. So you would have an allotted period to spend this script. It has an expiration date, there's no rollovers, and then you can't inherit it. So you can't save, you can't inherit anything from your parents. So that seems a little awful and scary. I know some people may be like, well, that's good, it's for the environment, but it's never about the environment. And so if you notice today, corporations have ESG scores, which I like to call the woke score. It's an environmental social governance. It's a broad rating of a company's commitment to sustainability. Again, sustainability is essentially the Trojan horse for technocracy. And you have the CSR, which is the corporate social responsibility, which is an internal commitment to strong corporate values. Basically just more regulations and control. Very much seems to me like the energy script. A newer version is the social credit system. And people think out there pushing for this COVID-19 passport, that's a Trojan horse for the social credit system. It's not about a vaccine, and it's not, I think the vaccine eventually has to do with transhumanism and hooking you up to the cloud eventually, but for now it's to get everybody on a database and full control. You no longer have bodily autonomy and things like that. It kind of reminds me of the show Black Mirror. There was an episode called 15 Million Merits, which was kind of creepy because you had to like ride a bicycle to earn your money and your points to be a part of the awful dystopian world that was all about. So if you haven't seen that episode, you should watch it. So the Trilateral Commission and its role in technocracy. The Trilateral Commission was co-founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller and presents its 289 handpicked members from 3 regions: North America, Europe, and Japan. 97 people from the US, Democrats and Republicans. They include bankers, industrialists, academia, politicians, media, law firms, and NGOs, non-governmental organizations. They had a magazine called The Trialogue and a series of documents called the Triangle Papers. Trilateral Commission, they actually floated the idea of technocracy in 1972 at the Bilderberg meeting. So the fact that these people have floated the idea is kind of crazy. It takes decades to get agendas, to have them come to fruition. So they say the Trilateral Commission transcends politics. This is a quote from Brzezinski in 1970 from his book, Between Two Ages, America's Role in a Technotron Era. And again, he was a co-founder of the Trilateral Commission. He says, the nation state as a fundamental unit of a man's organized life has ceased to be the principal creative force. International banks and multinational corporations are acting and planning in terms that are for an advance of the political concepts of the nation state. Barry M. Goldwater, he was a congressman, I want to say. Again, don't quote me. This is a book he wrote with no apologies in 1979 regarding the Trilateral Commission. He says the Trilateral Commission is international and is intended to be the vehicle for multinational consolidation of the commercial and banking interests by seizing control of the political government of the United States. The Trilateral Commission represents skillful, coordinated effort to seize control and consolidate the 4 centers of power: political, monetary, intellectual, and ecclesiastical, like religious. I can't say the word, sorry. He was the only one to ever really speak out about the Trilateral Commission. Anyway, so the original policy of the Trilateral of 1973 was to foster a new international economic order, promote interdependence, and promote free trade by dismantling tariffs and trade barriers. Now, I don't know much about tariffs or trade barriers, so we're not going to go there, but maybe some of you do, so knock yourselves out. Now, here's the scary part. The Trilateral Commission picked up technocracy in 1973, and with it came massive amounts of money, donated by none other than the Rockefeller Organization and all the organizations related to the Rockefeller Group. So, when David starts investing in something, it's about to go down, because he pretty much controls the world. He controls the medical industry, or the family, the Rockefellers, the Rockefeller medical industry, which is Western medicine, which is, we all know how fucking corrupt that is. So anyway, this has to do with when I said in my first video that presidents are not elected, they are selected. I do think at one point they were elected, but they were hijacked at some point down the road, and I think this maybe have something to do with it. And again, I don't know, this is just my take on things. So comment if you think, or if you have more information, or you can school me on this, because again, I'm just learning. So in 1976, the executive office was hijacked by the Trilateral Commission. So Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale, both members of the Trilateral Commission, were picked by Brzezinski to run for president. Interesting. Brzezinski was immediately appointed to the National Security Advisor after, of course, Jimmy Carter was elected president and Walter Mondale was vice president. Carter then appointed almost 1/3 of the Trilateral Commission members to top cabinet and administrative posts. So here's a list of our executive office. So the U.S. Trade Representatives from 1977 to 2013, 9 out of 12 were members of the Trilateral Commission. The World Bank Presidents, 1968 to 2012, 6 out of the 8 were Trilateral Commission members. The Executive Office, 1977 to now, I think, 7 out of 12. So we had Jimmy Carter, Walter Mondale, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, and Dick Cheney were all members of Trilateral. National Security Advisors, 1969 to 2013. You had 10 out of 17 were Trilateral members. So it seems to me like our government has been infiltrated by a special interest group. We had Henry Kissinger, we had Condoleezza Rice, Brett Swarcroft, Frank Carlucci, Brzezinski, General James Jones, Tom Donilon, Anthony Lake, and our lovely Susan Rice. Another interesting turn of events that happened in 2012. 2012, July 10th to the 12th, they had a conference called the International Social Transformation Conference, held in Split, Croatia. And guess what the theme was? Energy currency. Energy currency as a fundamental measure of price, cost, and value. Keynote speaker was Professor Ivo Sloss, who was a member of the Club of Rome. And if you don't know who the Club of Rome is, I suggest you look it up. It's like another special interest group of the elites. Member of the Club of Rome, Board of Trustees of the World Academy of Arts and Science, and Chairman of International Network of Centers of Sustainable Development. Technocracy. So it seems like this agenda has been in the works for quite some time, and in 2020 they kind of came out guns blazing with their agendas, and they don't really give a shit anymore. Luckily, a lot of people are waking up to it. I'd like to think that if enough people push back, they can't go through with this, but who knows, we'll see. So some fictional books about a life in a technocracy dystopia would be The Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, and of course 1984 by George Orwell. And some nonfiction books about the agendas, which you can also read, are Limits to Growth by the Club of Rome members. By the way, all of this is about population control. So when you see things like what's happening today with COVID-19 COVID-19 and the vaccines and the suppression of medicine that can easily cure or mediate the COVID-19 is just like, they don't want you alive. They want people dead. They want the population to be reduced significantly. I mean, Ted Turner's on record saying he would like to reduce the world population by 95%. And that's something. And then you have Bill Gates also stating similar things. I know Ted Turner said he wanted to see a one-child family for the next 100 years. I mean, these people are, they openly say it and no one seems to care or pay attention, and yet they just trust the government and the vaccines. And anyway, whatever. Do you? I'm just saying. So also a book is Between Two Ages by Brzezinski, also the co-founder of the Trilateral Commission, and then Agenda 21, Plan to Change the World. This is a real book. You can look it up, you can research it. These things are out there. People call me a conspiracy theorist and they think I'm nuts, but guess what? Look it up and research it yourself. Another funny thing is Al Gore. Remember, he made that documentary, The Inconvenient Truth, the crisis of global warming, which we all know is now we know it was a propaganda piece that never came true. None of that stuff did. But he was a Trilateral Commission member pushing the technocracy agenda. So anytime you hear sustainability, and we've heard a lot lately, it's really just a Trojan horse for technocracy. So this information I got from Patrick Wood. He is a specialist when it comes to technocracy, and like very good guy to research if you guys are interested. He says that Obamacare is about data collecting and not your health. Common Core, which is our educational system, is about data collecting, brainwashing, not education. And the Patriot Act, of course, which is the Total Information Awareness Act, is about data collecting as well. So another interesting thing that he mentioned was the National Intelligence Agency was created by George Bush in April 21st, 2005. The first ever director of intelligence was John Negroponte, member of the Trilateral Commission. And while Obama was never a member of the Trilateral Commission, his administration were. So you had Dennis Blair, Director of National Intelligence. You had Susan Rice, National Security Advisor. Thomas Donilon, National Security Advisor and Deputy Security Advisor. And General James Jones, National Security Advisor. And isn't that just so funny how, you know, you can't run your business and you have to wear a mask and go around and follow all these rules, but Obama has a huge party with all the elites and they can do whatever the fuck they want. So if that doesn't piss you off, I really don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. So that's basically some interesting information that I found and I wanted to share with you guys. So in conclusion, he says technocracy is very close to its end game. It is old religion, but newly implemented by the Trilateral Commission as the green economy that will be supported by an energy currency. It is the primary sponsor of programs like Agenda 21, Sustainable Development, Smart Grid, Common Core, Education Standards, Biodiversity, Wildlands Project, etc. I mean, it's all out there, guys. This information is everywhere and it's so obvious. And I mean, maybe you think this is a good idea, and if you do, like, tell me why and put it in the comments or something, because I would love to hear your take on it. I just personally feel that it's the ultimate end for ultimate control. Like, our sovereignty is over. And even in my notes I have here, the Agenda 21, one of their statements was the end of personal sovereignty, which is fucking terrifying. End of national sovereignty, state planning and management of all land resources, ecosystems, deserts, forests, mountains, oceans, freshwater, agricultural, rural development, biotechnology, and ensuring equity, essentially slavery for everybody. They'll eventually stop funding I'm not going to say the word, schools, communities, and they'll push everybody out, and you'll have to live in these smart cities or whatever. So anyway, yeah. So that is my first topic. I thought that was so fascinating because it has so much to do with what's happening right now. I mean, it's like perfectly aligned. So anyway, if you want to comment or you have more information that you could give to me on this topic, because I think it's so fascinating, and I really would love to hear more. And if you disagree, also let me know. Like, let's talk about it. The more, what is it? Knowledge is power. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.